Past simple versus present perfect. Today we will be speaking about the past simple tense and the present perfect tense. In English, the use of past simple and present perfect is quite strict. I will explain everything about the usage of past simple and present perfect. So, memorize the key points. Let's start with basic grammar. This is number 1. The past simple tense describes actions that begin and finished in the past. The past simple is formed upon the formula subject plus past form of the main verb. 5 years ago in the past and 5 minutes ago is also in the past. Usually, we point to the specific time of the action when using past simple. I saw my teacher yesterday. He played football when he was a student. They met in 1993 and got married. The present perfect tense describes actions that started in the past, continued and finished at the certain moment of time or period, but the result of this action is related to the present. Compared to the past simple formula, the sentence structure of the present perfect is different. Subject plus have or has and past participle. He has already seen that show. I have finished taking medicine this week. Your children have grown since I last saw them. Time is not specified in these sentences. Learning the situations when we use past simple and present perfect will be very helpful. You can find the links in the description below the video. The rule number 1. Past simple is formed upon the formula subject plus verb 2. Specific time is pointed. Present perfect is formed upon the formula subject plus have or has plus verb 3. Specific time isn't pointed. Finished or unfinished time period is the second point. As you may have noticed, sometimes we can talk about a finished period of time and sometimes about an unfinished period. The following examples clearly illustrate the difference in meaning. I played the guitar this morning. I've played the guitar this morning. Both sentences are about the finished action, played the guitar. However, there is a difference in the periods when the same action took place. In the first sentence, the period is over or finished because it is no longer morning, perhaps evening. Therefore, we used past simple. On the contrary, in the second sentence, the action is over, but the morning is still unfinished. For example, it's 11 a.m. The present perfect tense is used. Please pay attention to the time markers of finished and unfinished periods. Examples of finished periods are yesterday, last week, last month, or last year, 1985, 2012, 5 days ago. Examples of unfinished periods are today, this week, this month, or this year, since 2012, recently. The rule 2. The time period is unfinished. Use the present perfect tense. The time period is finished. Use the past simple tense. Number 3. A result in the present. Imagine that you want to say about the finished action, for example, about the lost key. It is possible to say this in 2 ways. I lost my key and I've lost my key. what is the difference? Well, I lost my key. This is a simple fact about the past action. It could have happened last week or yesterday. It doesn't matter. It is a simple statement of the fact that can be added with an emotional component. For instance, I lost my key. It was terrible. The past simple sentence shows the past action that isn't related to the present, because now everything is okay and I have a new key. However, when we use the present perfect tense, we want to show the result of the past action that matters in the present. I've lost my key. Imagine that I'm in front of the door and can't find it anywhere. The result of a past action matters in the present, so we use the present perfect tense. The rule 3, the past action isn't connected to the present, use the past simple tense. The past action is related to the present, use the present perfect tense. Number 4, life experience. Have you ever been to the Sahara Desert? Have you ever seen Big Ben? Many of us know that the present perfect tense is also used to talk about someone's life experience. The question, have you ever, is common in English. In questions of this type, the exact time is not important. We just want to ask about someone's life experience. Can we use the past simple tense to talk about life experiences? To answer this question, look at 2 sentences. My grandfather has visited Venice twice, and my grandfather visited Venice twice. The present perfect tense is used in the first sentence as it shows the life experience of the grandfather. He is still alive and perhaps will visit Venice once more. In the second sentence, we used the past simple because the grandfather is no longer alive, so we talk about a finished action in the past. Usually a conversation can be started with the common question in present perfect. For example, have you ever dived into the Red Sea? And then clarifying questions can be asked in the past simple. For instance, did you see sharks? How deep did you dive? The rule 4. We are talking about someone's life experience and a person is alive. Use the present perfect tense. We are talking about someone's life experience and a person is dead. Use the past simple tense. Number 5. Finished or unfinished actions. In this part of the lesson, we'll be talking about for and since sentences because such sentences can confuse many students. I've lived in Manchester for 1 year. I lived in Manchester for 1 year. What is the difference between these 2 sentences? The timeline will help us understand the difference correctly. I lived in Manchester for 1 year. The context is, I lived in Manchester some years ago, for example, when I was a child, but my family moved to London and I don't live there. You see, we used the past simple tense in order to say that 1 year was started and finished in the past. For indicates the duration of the finished action that started and finished in the past. Let's look at the same period of 1 year but with a different meaning. So, as it's seen from the timeline, the period started in the past but still continues. In this case, we say, I've lived in Manchester for 1 year. The context is, I've lived in Manchester for 1 year up to now, and still live in this city and, probably, will live in the future. Also, we can say, I've lived in Manchester since last year. The time marker since reflects that the period started at a particular time in the past and continues up to now, as in the example above. Moreover, this particular time can be pointed precisely in 2005 or by some actions. She has passed a lot of exams since she started studying at the university. Started studying is the point of time in the past. Note, since is used only with the present perfect tense and cannot be used with the past simple tense. I lived in Manchester since last year. Incorrect. The rule 5, for, and since sentences. An action is finished. The past simple tense is used with for. An action is not finished. The present perfect tense is used with for or since. Let's summarize. You can pause the video to review the summary table and then move to the quiz. Well, let's see how well you know the difference between past simple and present perfect. I have been to Ireland twice. He told me a funny story yesterday. I visited Ireland last year. She played a piano for a year in her childhood. She hasn't seen Alex this week. He bought a new car 2 months ago. I have studied at the university since 2020. Well done. Stay with us and enjoy your English learning.